Last week, rent control activists rallied on the steps of the state capitol demanding more affordable rent and an end to eviction for non-payment of rent. And they claim that rents are just too high and it's the fault of corporate homebuyers. Real estate expert John Adams is here to take a closer look at what actually makes rental rates rise. John, good morning. How are you today?
I am well, Buck. I hope you are.
I'm doing great. Thank you. So everybody knows that rents have risen a lot over the past couple of years, whether you're a renter or not. Specifically, though, what's driving the high cost of these rents?
Well, there was that guy that ran for president on the rent is too damn high committee. Do you remember him? He was in New York. He had a big white handlebar. Anyway, rent is up. Everything is up. And these people were rallying saying we needed rent control to solve the problem. Buck, I honestly don't think rent control is going to be the problem, besides the fact that it's illegal in Georgia. But the reality is that rising rents are simply part of the bigger story on inflation, and we've got a housing supply and demand crunch. And I think there are four things that are driving that. Let's take a look at them.
All right, let's go right down the list. Start with number one, millennials moving out of the basement.
Finally, this is now the largest generation that this country has ever seen, passing the baby boomers and then you Gen Xers, right? And all of a sudden, they're getting married, they're having babies, and they're needing a place of their own. That drives rent up. Number two, unsuccessful buyers. You know, we've got a lot of people that have made many offers. I mean, I talked to a guy yesterday that said he had made over 10 offers, but because all of his offers were contingent on financing, sellers wouldn't even talk to him. And so when unsuccessful home buyers finally give up, they decide to become renters for a while. They have no choice. They got to live somewhere. That drives up demand. That drives up rent. Number three, do you remember, it was almost 2 years ago now, we had the CDC eviction ban was put in place.
I do.
It was crazy. It basically said, hey, if you claim that you think you might have COVID or you met somebody who did, you don't have to pay rent for as long as you want. And it was unbelievable in that the landlord still had to pay taxes, insurance, repairs, utilities, everything else that is their responsibility, but they weren't getting any income. It's a great idea. It was just unconstitutional. And so once the Supreme Court overturned that, which was last fall, eventually those rent freezes fell away, and a lot of homeowners, a lot of landlords said, this is a good time to try to catch up on some of the rent that we lost. That drove up rent, and finally, and perhaps an interesting side note for Atlanta, we've had an influx of high-income renters as the economy has recovered. Buck, you've got white-collar workers who used to live in New York, San Francisco, very expensive places, and now under work from home, Buck, these people can live in the Atlanta area, have a better quality of life, have a lower cost of living, and that's why they're moving south. We've seen it heavily in Florida. We're seeing it in Metro Atlanta.
Right.
These people come here. They decide to rent for a while they get the lay of the land. That drives up rent.
Yeah, as expensive as it seems to us who've been here for a long time, it looks very attractive to people coming from more expensive parts of the country. So what's your bottom line here, John?
Bottom line is, look, you can blame corporate purchases for driving up the price of rents in Atlanta, but, you know, wishing and hoping don't make it so. Even corporations are bound by the laws of supply and demand. And, Buck, rents are determined based on what people are willing to pay. People have to have a place to live. There's high demand. There is low supply. That's why rents are up. No crash in sight.
All right, I think you'll get a lot of traction on this one today. You going to stick around for a bit?
Yes, sir. Happy to do it. Fox5 Facebook page.
Sounds good. John, thanks a lot. You have a great day, man.
You bet.
And as John mentioned, he's going to stick around on our Fox5 Atlanta Facebook page for the next hour to answer your real estate questions. I'm sure a lot of people would like to talk about today's topic, but they don't necessarily have to be about the topic that we just discussed.